Hi, good morning. Welcome to the Joy Business Report. Coming up, interest rates surged to nearly 30% as government records 31% oversubscription of treasury bills to the tune of about 2.06 billion cedis. Also coming up, Bank of Ghana set to continue with targeted dollar support for bulk distributors of petroleum products, despite proposals from IMF to suspend the program, and organized labor suspends intended nationwide strike today, demanding reinstatement of 3 workers of Sunan Asogli Power Company following the intervention of the Council of State. We have details coming up. Do stay with us. My name is Daryl Kwao. First up, interest rates continue to surge on the money market to nearly 30% as the government recorded a 31% oversubscription of treasury bills. The oversubscription was as a result of the lower target of 1.57 billion cedis. Here's more in this Business Desk report.
According to the auction results, chunk of the bid came from the 91-day T-bill, but at a higher interest rate. About 1.63 billion cedis were tendered at a yield of 24.39%, compared with 23.95% the preceding week. However, a little above 1.544 billion cedis were accepted. For the 182-day T-bill, about 297.63 million cedis were tendered by the investors. All the bids were accepted at a rate of 26.02, about 0.23% higher than previously. A little above 137 billion cedis were, however, tendered for the 364-day T-bill at a rate of 29.64%. Many market watchers have described the rising interest rate as a major concern, as the primary motive of the domestic debt exchange program was to bring down the cost of government debt. There is also the crowding out effect as the banks continue to participate significantly in government short-term securities, therefore reducing total loans and advancement. Overall, lending rate will remain high, depriving many businesses and households from accessing funds.
That was a Business Desk report. The coalition of individual bondholder groups has criticized the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and the government for the lackadaisical attitude towards payment of principals to individual bondholders. According to the coalition, all agreements reached for the payment of the outstanding principals have been breached. Speaking to individual bondholders on the way forward to retrieve their investments in a webinar, convener Senor Hosi said the coalition will begin picketing the Finance Ministry tomorrow, July 11, to compel the Finance Minister to pay them their outstanding principals. He urged all individuals to partake in the picketing. Meantime, a senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Benjamin Amwa, is calling on the Bank of Ghana and other stakeholders to intensify education on government bonds and securities to customers. According to him, most customers do not know their rights and responsibilities when buying bonds, therefore they are shortchanged by some banks. His comment comes on the back of assertions that banks could be sued over how they sold government bonds and cocoa bills to their clients, making them worse off due to the domestic debt exchange program. Speaking to Joy Business, Dr. Amwa said the way forward is for customers who patronize government securities to know the advantages and disadvantages.
We need to know the responsibility of the customer, the duties of the customer, the privileges of the customer. The question is, how many of us, consumers of financial services, are aware of our rights and responsibilities? Many of us, we don't know. And so long as we don't know, chances are very high that the banks may take advantage of us. What is the rights of the customer? And do the customers or the client know their rights? And more so, whose responsibility is it to educate the customer when it comes to some of these instruments? Is it the bank, is it the issuer, or is it the regulator? Or is it the case that the customer himself must educate himself to understand the product that he or she want to buy? These are some of the conversations that we can have. Then having had that conversation, we can then position what the banks did and what they did not do right.
Senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Benjamin Amwa. Now, the Bank of Ghana has signaled its intention to still go ahead with the targeted dollar support for the bulk oil distribution companies to support fuel imports. This is despite proposals from the International Monetary Fund that the central bank should take steps to suspend the program. Here's George Afe with more.
Bank of Ghana's decision to still press ahead of this program came up during one of those engagements between the central bank and these bulk distributors of petroleum products. This is, however, not to say that the central bank has totally rejected the IMF's proposal to take steps to halt this targeted dollar support program. The IMF had maintained that it doesn't help in allowing the forces of demand and supply determine the exchange rate, as it sees the Bank of Ghana's action as a deliberate regulatory intervention to control the exchange rate. However, persons close to the Bank of Ghana had argued that the decision to go ahead this program should be seen as a temporary measure, whilst it looks ahead to see how it will be feasible to totally suspend the program. The uncertainty about the future of this dollar support program for the bulk oil distributors brought some pressure on the Ghana cedi some 2 weeks ago. Some players have told Joy Business that the decision to continue this program, at least for now, may help to consolidate the Ghana cedi's gains against the US dollar and stabilize the rates going forward. It could also go a long way to possibly keep fuel prices at the pumps unchanged from the 16th of this month.
George, I feel with that report, let's turn to the currency market for you this morning. The dollar going for 11 cedis 70 pesos, the pound going for 14 cedis 95 pesos, the euro as trading at 12 cedis 73 pesos. Now, organized labor has suspended its intended nationwide strike today following the intervention of the Council of State. Labor unions in the country earlier announced through the Trades Union Congress their resolve to embark on an industrial action over the failure of management of Sunon Asogli to reinstate 3 workers sacked for joining the Ghana Mine Workers Union. This was after several appeals and petitions for the company to rescind its decision. In other news, the Ghana Shippers Authority is calling for the revision of the maritime law to properly regulate activities at the ports. According to Chief Executive of the authority, Benonita Bismarck, the revision is necessary to address critical setbacks such as piracy. She was speaking at the 14th Maritime Law Seminar for selected justices of the High Court.
The thing is, the Deputy Attorney General talked about Act 29, which is almost 6 decades. So it is difficult to use a law that doesn't contain all the provisions that you need to address current issues. You know, at that time, piracy in the Gulf of Guinea was unknown. But now, we talked about some statistics, about 35 seafarers have been kidnapped, some have been killed. So you need to have a law that can bite. You can't, as an administrator of justice, it's not you. You have to go to the law and apply the law. But if it is not there, then no, you can't give what you don't have. So we need to revise, and the Chief Justice talked about that. We need to revise the law to ensure that it is in consonance with what is happening currently and even for the future.
Chief Executive of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Benonita Bismarck. Now, the Managing Director of MultiChoice Ghana, Alex Autry, has indicated that the depreciation of the cedi and high inflation recorded in the past few months has had adverse effects on its operations. He's, however, hopeful that the economy will rebound soon. He spoke to the media during a walk to mark the company's 30th anniversary.
It's been difficult, right? I mean, we all know about the economic challenges we've faced, inflation, depreciation of the cedi, but it's part of the difficulties that I mentioned we've gone through, right? So MultiChoice has been here 30 years. There's been a lot of similar issues in the 30 years, but we are here. I mean, so we have a strong backbone, we have a strong group that has strong properties. So we'll continue to be here. I mean, it will just be a blip or a difficulty along the way, but we will surmount it. I'm sure the Ghanaian economy will rebound and we'll get to the good days again.
Managing Director of MultiChoice Ghana, Alex Autry. Now, patrons who thronged the first clinic of the 2023 EcoBank Join Its Habitat Fair described the housing fair as very critical in their quest to secure their own homes. The clinic, which took place at the Chimota Retail Center here in Accra over the weekend, brought together several patrons who engaged experts on what to do and how to go about owning their dream homes. Here's Daniel Ohine Edu, Project Manager of Cities and Habitats, who says his outfit has packaged its products for customers to easily own them.
We have looked at it in terms of the various, rent, incomes, earnings around the country, and especially in Accra, Greater Accra, where our project is, and packaged or modeled our project to be able to meet